at the bright side. Hello.
Hi, how's it
Welcome
going?
back. I'm doing well.
Good.
That is so true because at the times that I can remind myself that attitude makes all the difference in the world are the times where something negative doesn't seem so bad if you can turn that corner. But it's not an easy thing to do.
Yes, and I do feel like as a society, it's almost getting easier to be more negative. You know, I'll come out into my waiting room and say like, hey, how's it going today? Oh, I'm so stressed, blah, 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 blah. And it just automatically goes to negative, or it automatically goes to a big sigh, yada, yada, yada. You know, the only time we talk about the weather is when it's bad. The only time we talk about, you know, all of these things is we really try to find things to kind of complain about to start conversations. And it's like, what if we started of like, hey, how was your vacation?
Yes.
Hey, how was this? You know, and I think I even just hypocritically, when you were asking me how my vacation was, like, well, I have 2 kids.
That's true.
And it was a lot, so I just caught myself like kind of going
Sure.
more toward, not that that's a negative, but
No,
it wasn't a vacation.
But I
you
asked,
know.
I asked Tana whether she had fun. Did you guys do a little
Yeah.
celebrating, a little partying? And you said, well, with 2 toddlers. And, you know, and I didn't even think about that. That instead of saying, you know, it was really
I did.
fun.
I
the,
had
the
great
kids
quality
really
time
did
with
this.
yes.
And, yeah.
And so part of this has been that I see it in people, and so I think that makes me more aware of it too. And so this isn't even related to losing weight or to getting stronger or diet exercise. It's just kind of to your whole life. And so a lot of research is even showing like positivity or negativity can really have health effects. It can change blood pressures, that your body feels that as stress, you know, and that can really turn into a chronic thing. And so even if you're not looking to exercise, you're not looking to change your food, but you're just wanting to maybe feel better, just even twisting some of those thoughts into more positives can make a humongous difference.
So many things pop into my mind from what
I
you
know, it
say.
could go
And
a
one
lot
of
of
them,
ways.
let's go back to when you said you'll walk out into your waiting room and say, hey, good morning. You hear that so frequently. Oh, I didn't sleep well last night. Or, oh, geez, the kids kept me awake. Or the dog needed to go out. Whatever it is, we really have a tendency to go down that road first.
Yes.
Now, you also talked about weight. It's got nothing to do with weight loss or things like that. But that is another area where people really struggle because they step on that scale, which I know you're so fond of. And if it didn't drop a pound from yesterday, people take it as a negative instead of looking back over the last 2-3 weeks or whatever and the progress they've made.
Right, or that you didn't gain weight, or
True.
you know. And so I really feel like often I'm trying to put positive spins onto things for people, and my goal is that like if I'm walking them down my hallway to start an appointment and they're you know, the storm kept me up, blah blah blah, that then as they're leaving they're like, oh wait, I did make progress that I didn't realize, or wait, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. And I don't know what's happening, but it just seems like it's more and more that we're being surrounded by negativity, and I always say like misery loves company. And so then it's more tempting for us to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to join you on that negative talk, and then it becomes a habit almost. And so this can be, you know, more so of like trying to catch what other negative things are happening around you and trying to be like, okay, I don't like how that sounds or feels. I'm going to try to be the one that turns us into positive, or the people that make me talk more positively, that's where I'm going to try to spend more time, or, you know, because it is just a very cyclical, and it becomes a habit, you know, that if I talk positively either about myself or my life or anything, I'm arrogant and showboating or something, you know, and like
you're showing off.
Yeah, and that's not it. You know, a lot of it is just I'm soaking up the good things I have in life. Everyone has good, bad, ugly, all of that. And I think sometimes because we don't want to come across as, you know, like, look at my perfect life, that we try to join in on everyone else's negativity.
And I'm not trying to make a leap here, but I think it infiltrates all parts of our lives, whether you're on social media or not. The people around you probably are, and that can feed the negative thing. It just, sometimes I'll read something where somebody will put out a fairly decent comment in the sense of being positive, and one of the first comments back will be something negative. Who do you think you are? Or, you know, if this bothers you, then maybe you need to do a different job. I mean, it's just, it takes it and right away pulls it down. Do you think social media has anything to do with that?
Hugely,
Okay.
you know, and so kind of like the biggest steps I try to tell people, and they're all very much connected, is like trying to be well rested is huge, and just like having a better outlook on life, because if we're exhausted and zombies, like it's just going to be really hard to do. But that coincides with most of the time the reason we're not getting to bed is because we're spending time on social media. And so then you're getting tired, but then your social media very commonly leads to some type of depression, anxiety, any of that, because you're seeing these pretend perfect lives that then you're relating to yours, which is just real and authentic, and it's not matching up, and so you're feeling bad about that. So then you're going to sleep, not getting correct rest, and then it's just gonna boom, 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 boom.
So there
And
are direct and indirect results from social media.
Yeah, I definitely think so. That whole comparison, you know, nothing is worse for your mental health than comparison. And so a lot of what we try to do with social media, even though we're trying to kind of relax and lighten things up, it tends to get into a comparison mode. And so then that can drag you down a little bit, and then you might start doing that comparing with people in your life, and then that drags you down a little bit. I just think even from today to 5 years ago, we're surrounded by a lot more negativity, and then that's starting to kind of seep into us. And so that's having health effects, life habit effects, you know, mental effects, all of that. And so if you know, were to try to just put a little effort into catching yourself, changing it, and if you were to catch 3 negative comments a day, that's at least going to change a little bit of the chemistry in your body.
Sure. I would imagine that recognition is number one. You have to recognize it in yourself. But how do you go about training the mind to say, whoop, wait a minute, before I say that, or let this thought creep in and dictate to me what's going to be? How do you turn it around?
And I actually really thank my job for helping me with this, because I think I've heard other people say things that have probably happened in my head, and I'm like, that sounds awful. Like, that's really bad that you said that about yourself, or that you think that about your life, or that you're kind of going that route with things. And so then it's more of like, I don't want to sound like that. And so then I become more aware of it through seeing it day in and day out. And so I feel fortunate for having that. And so then I kind of think of those situations. So then if you're hearing someone and it's just kind of a downer, 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 you know, can you throw in a comment of something to turn that into a positive, and see if that conversation can change a direction, because then you're going to help not only yourself but the person you're having a conversation with. It's really hard to, you know, if you're starting to spiral just internally, to just really try to stop, and you have to say like 3 nice things to yourself. You have to, you know, whether that be like, you know, you showered today. You know, like that is a huge win for me.
You made it to work on time.
Yes, that's exactly it. And you know, and I am continually catching myself. You know, just a few days ago, I was telling someone how fast time is going, and I was like, I feel like the year's over half done, and I have nothing to show for it. And then I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do.
I kept kids alive. You know, like I'm here, like I've got things to show for it. Just because nothing new, big, and exciting happened.
Exactly. We think of the everyday things as not successful, but they certainly can.
They are. That you're surviving day in and day out is. And so I'm still catching myself. But I find that from one week to the next, I'm like, oh, I just am really down this week. And I think I let myself get into that. And so, and to be honest, like Monday I was there, and that's why we're talking about it today, because I had to call myself out, and I was kind of having pity parties, and it's like, no, that doesn't feel good. That's not good for me in the long term. It's not good for the people around me.
You had to have a little conversation with Tana to get things
3 positives.
straight.
Unfortunately, I hadn't showered yet that day.
3 positives, so you had to look for 3 others.
Yeah,
All right.
I had to find 3
Where
others.
do we find Proximal 50, and where can we reach out to you for help?
So we've got 2 locations in town, one up on Divide and one downtown, but you can always just email any questions or inquiries to info@proximal50.com. Watch from afar. We're always trying to give advice through social media, positive advice through social media. And we just want to be here near or far. So
Tana, thank you.
Thank you.
Tana Trotter, Proximal 50. Stay with us. North Dakota Today is coming right back.